All right, welcome back. It's still the breakfast on Plus TV Africa. We're set to do justice to the headlines on the front pages of today's national dailies. I'm very glad to say we have a revered legal practitioner with us on the line. Tunde Kolawole, good morning, and thank you very much, barrister, for your time.
Good morning for having me. Thank you.
All right, and of course, we'll be delving into the issues of the day on the papers. We'll start off with the Nation newspaper this morning. Interesting headlines there, and they're leading with the conversation on 2023 elections. INEC reset of BVAS must for governorship poll. Court decides today on LP's legal battle with the election agency. INEC reset of BVAS a must for governorship poll. Court decides today on LP's legal battle with election agency. APC supporters march for democracy. That is one of the window captions there on the front page of the Nation. You can see a picture of Tunde Kolawole, I believe, who is one of the spokespersons for the APC PCC. It says Alake insists poll credible. Transform Nigeria, NSCIA tells Tinubu victory well deserved. Sanwo-Olu takes campaign to markets. It's quite interesting. He was in the markets, of course. People have made a lot about it, taking selfies and all that. Makinde engages clerics, canvasses peaceful poll. More from the Nation. Banks pay old Naira notes to customers. Banks pay old Naira notes to customers. Traders reject old currencies. AGF mum over Supreme Court judgment. Traders reject old currencies. AGF mum over Supreme Court judgment. And final few stories from the Nation. ECOWAS awards Buhari icon of democracy. INEC fires Sokoto wreck. Okay, that's the first casualty, the biggest casualty so far. Maybe we can say another one bites the dust. Daniel Jimo Bamidele, 98 senators elect get COR, and the Jimo they're talking about is billionaire businessman Jimo Ibrahim. Of course, yesterday was Agog at the International Conference Center in Abuja, which is the National Coalition Center for INEC, when the senators-elect received their certificates of return. You can see Okpeyemi Bamidele as well as Madam Adebule of Lagos, all receiving their CORs. Congratulations to them. We'll take stories from other papers. The Guardian up next. The big story there, Tinubu files a suit as appeal court rules on INEC's move to reconfigure BVAS. Writers to that story. Obi opposes INEC, seeks fiscal inspection of election materials. 70 CSOs kick. PDP rejects INEC's bid to reconfigure BVAS machines. Court summons INEC, Wike, others over suit to suspend Saturday's Guba polls in Rivers State. 10th National Assembly won't be Tinubu's rubber stamp, says Oshiomhole. Shekarau absent as 98 senators-elect receive certificates of return. Quite a controversial candidature there, that of Shekarau. Right, International Women's Day, The Guardian takes some time out to celebrate Nigerian women. I can see women that I love so much. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Amina Mohammed, Folorunsho Alakeja, and of course Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Great women of Nigeria, great gifts to the world. And the headline from The Guardian, International Women's Day, Buhari celebrates Nigerian women as stakeholders canvass girl-child development. Buhari celebrates Nigerian women as stakeholders canvass girl-child development. Telcos harmonize shortcodes for credit recharge. Others, some interesting news there. And Consumer Group urges new government to break Disco's monopoly. Some of the headlines. Resign. South Middle Belt Alliance CSOs tell INEC boss Mahmoud Yakubu. UNICEF lists Nigeria, Afghanistan, 10 others as worst hit by nutrition crisis. INEC deletes Dogowa's name as reps member-elect, replaces Sakwato Rec, and government extends electronic transfer levy to domiciliary accounts. All right, more money to be made there. Let's go to the next one. The Punch newspaper is the next paper on our table this morning. Fuel stations, others reject old Naira, banks ration cash. Okay, so my experiment probably has been proven true by the Punch newspaper, the little experiment I talked about earlier. Fuel stations, others reject old Naira, banks ration cash. Aviation fuel hits 840 Naira. Airlines predict flight delays. There's a first window caption on the front page of the Punch. Second one, over 200 cyber attacks blocked during presidential poll, FG, and BVAS data intact, INEC tells court parties. Lagos Kano get Lions shares, LGs rather, that's local governments share 2 trillion Naira, and fuel scarcity to linger till after elections. Marketers, when will we see the end of that? The final paper this morning is Daily Independent. We can see a picture of the INEC officials, Mahmoud Yakubu, flanked by his lieutenants right there at the National Collation Center. I'm talking about May Agbamuche Mbu, and of course Festus Okoye, always been with him throughout this process. The big story on the front page, the kicker, presidential election headline, Obi Atiku ask court not to allow INEC tamper with BVAS. And the riders to that, 2 of them, 70 CSOs kick against INEC's move to reconfigure BVAS. PDP raises the alarm over plot to erase evidence of rigging. 2 windows captions. The first one, APC names Fagbemi, 11 other SANs for presidential poll battle. And Samba asks INEC REC to resign if he can't conduct free, fair election. That's the Southern Middle Belt Alliance, as the Southern Middle Belt Alliance, Samba. You want to call it that for short. INEC suspends Sokoto resident electoral commissioner. Court stops police, DSS from arresting Ebonyi Abga Guba candidate. We blocked over 200 cyber attacks during presidential election. GBB and presidential election, NNPP frowns at report that Kwankwaso congratulated Tinubu. Labour Party dissolves Rivers Exco, dismisses alliance with any party, urges supporters to vote Itubo as Rivers governor. Supreme Court affirms Udofia as a Akwa Ibom APC Guba candidate. Tunde Kolawole, is a packed, good morning once again. It's a packed, we have packed stories. The front pages are packed with some very juicy stories. Maybe we start with the one in Rivers State and the controversy with the Labour Party as captured by the Daily Independent. Yesterday, it was a surprise to a lot of people when the chairman of Labour Party in Rivers State, who had only a week ago launched a very, very vocal protest following the announcement of results in Rivers State. He was before the press saying that his party was throwing its weight behind the PDP governorship candidate, who Wike's anointed successor, Sim Fubara. Well, the party has since debunked that and has suspended the Rivers State, or dissolved the Rivers State executive of Labour Party. What are your thoughts on this, Tunde Kolawole?
Good morning, my brother.
Good morning. Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah. Hello, Tunde Kolawole. Are you there, please?
I'm hearing you.
Okay. So give us your thoughts on that first story.
The one with regards to bypass?
No, the one with regards to the Labour Party in Rivers State and the controversy. A lot happened yesterday with the party chairman announcing that the party was supporting, endorsing Governor Wike's candidate, the PDP governorship candidate, Sim Fubara, only for the party to dissolve the EXCO, saying that their candidate in Rivers State is still the one on the ballot. Let's just put it that way.
Well, the Labour Party in Rivers State has been having a lot of issues. You will recollect that when their presidential candidate visited Rivers State, it was alleged in the press that he adopted the governorship candidate of the PDP as the flag bearer of the Labour Party. Also, the governor of Rivers State, Mr. Wike, had openly said in the letter that he was going to provide logistic support for the presidential candidates of the Labour Party. The Labour Party governorship aspirant too has also been very vocal in the media regarding the treatment that he is getting. So it has been an unsettled chapter or branch or state branch of the Labour Party in having issue. I suspect that the leader party in Rivers State, which is the PDP, under the leadership of Mr. Wike, may have been meddling the affairs of the Labour Party in that state. They may have not allowed the Labour Party to settle and behave like a party in that state, especially with regards to frustrating them from making significant impact in the governorship election that is going to come very shortly. So this kind of, some of these things may have been the destabilization effort from the other parties who don't want the Labour Party to make any road in that place. But also more importantly too, the allegation has also been that there has been corruption within the rank and file of the Labour Party in Rivers State. So these are some of the issues that have led to the dissolution of the chapter, the EBCO of the Labour Party in Rivers State. Let's pray that they get their act right. But for me, I would think this is not the appropriate time for the Labour Party to start dissolving the state chapter of the party in election just a few days to come.
All right. Okay. All right. But Tunde, the party chairman addressed the press and told the world that the party was endorsing a governorship candidate of another party when the governorship candidate of their party is still on ballot. And they just saw the information on social media and said, what's going on here? You know, so will you keep such a person who obviously probably has been sold out to some other interests just a few days to an election, you know, and hope to win that election by keeping the person there? Maybe they acted in the best interest of Labour Party in Rivers State.
I didn't quite get that. Can you repeat it?
Okay, I'm saying, I mean, if the party just saw on social media that their chairman in the state was announcing that their candidate, whom they're hoping will win the governorship election, that they are throwing their support behind another party's candidate, I'm sure it would be in the interest of that party, Labour Party, to say, you know what, you can leave because they don't want you to compromise our chances on the day of election.
Well, I didn't quite get you right.
Okay, let's move on. I think, yeah. Go
all
on.
right.
Yes. Sorry about that. Let's go on, Tunde. We look at some stories on the front page of the Nation newspaper, and INEC is saying that the reset of the bimodal voter accreditation system devices, the machines, is sine qua non for the governorship elections coming up on Saturday. They're saying they must do it. What the Nation says is that the Independent National Electoral Commission yesterday said that the reset of the BVAS machines must be done before Saturday's governorship and House of Assembly elections across the country. It required adequate time, they're saying, to configure or reconfigure the machines for the polls. So it's something they must do to be able to conduct that election. Should Nigerians have some understanding for INEC and all the parties realize that, you know, this is something they need to do so that they can accredit voters on Saturday?
Well, that is the tragedy of us now becoming dependent on our courts to decide who has won an election and who has not won an election. Ordinarily, the BVAS would not have become an issue if it had been appropriately used the last presidential election. But the information that INEC gave out was that the BVAS developed some technical faults, and because of that, they couldn't use it. Even though we see here on the social media, the BVAS was used for senatorial election and the House of Representatives election. So if it was good for the senatorial election and then the House of Representatives election, why was it not good for the presidential for the presidential election? Ordinarily, these are posts that the law will be interested in. But the question you now want to ask yourself is this: if you say the Bible has technical issues and all that, and they were deployed about 176,000 different polling booths all over the country, is INEC now saying that it was all those Bible that had a problem? And if it is not, why was it not used where they had no problem and if you collect the results? Second issue will be that when parties are in court and there are issues of evidence or material evidence that are going to be presented as evidence in court and all that, nobody is supposed to tamper with such issues of evidence. But the Bible as it is today is about one of the most crucial evidence that those who are contesting validity of the presidential election would have to rely on. So if you now reconfigure it and all that, my understanding of reconfiguration is that the public will wipe off all the data that is present in the Bible and then reset it to be able to accommodate the governorship election and the House of Assembly, the State House of Assembly's election. Because it would have been configured the presidential, the senatorial, and then the House of Representatives election. When you now reconfigure it to accommodate the governorship and the State House of Assembly election, of course you are tampering with evidence. And like I said, parties before court are supposed to maintain the status quo, not touch any material evidence that is going to be presented or tendered in court. Furthermore, I now gave us the impression that they always have a backup every BVAS that is not functioning. So if there are about 176,000 polling booths in the country that BVAS have been used in the past, the expectation would be that they also have the same number of backup in their stores or in the reserve that could be deployed to accommodate the governorship and then the House Assembly election. Whichever way you look at it, it is not good for INEC to say that it wants to tamper with the Bible. That is already an issue before a court of competent jurisdiction. It would undermine the case of the petitioners, the Labour Party, the PDP, and even the man who is alleged to have won the elections, because he himself has also applied that he would like to inspect the Bible with a view to using it also to prosecute his own case that he genuinely and won the election. Simply speaking, INEC appears to be blowing hot and cold at the same time. And when you blow hot and cold at the same time, I am sure the election petition tribunal will frown very seriously at it. INEC has goofed big time, and I would want to see a situation in which they will kind of ameliorate the damage that has been done to their reputation with regard to the handling of the last election that we had all over the country. Courts, I am sure, will not allow INEC to reconfigure BVAS if it is going to jeopardize the case of the petitioner in this election. And more importantly, we have had this election almost about 2 weeks ago. What has made it difficult for INEC to be able to upload all the results that they said they have gotten regard to the presidential senatorial House of Representatives election? All right. Tunde Kolawole are still inside the Bible. Yeah. What stopped them from about 2 weeks that we have had those elections? Okay. Put it in their storage or whatever facilities bank that they put there. Such that this issue of applying to court to be allowed to reconfigure the Bible would not have been arising.
All right. Tunde Kolawole, thank you very much. I almost call it Sawolu there. I'll go to the next story on the nation that I think we should look at. This concerns Saturday's governorship election and what the paper is saying. The window caption on the front left corner of the paper, Sanwo-Olu takes campaign to markets. Sanwo-Olu takes campaign to markets. The governor has seen a video of him in I think he was in Alaba market yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, or one of the major markets in Lagos State. And he went to woo supporters or voters out there to talk to the market people, to listen to their complaints. And what we hear is that he promised to address all their issues when he gets elected, if he's elected as a governor for the second time, to do a second term in Lagos. He's also, apart from what the paper is saying, he's also approved a 1.2 billion naira payment to retirees in Lagos State. I'm sure you may have heard, I believe you may have heard of that by now. 1.2 billion naira to retirees in Lagos State. And of course, there are a lot of other things that have been, within the past couple of weeks, been done by the government of Lagos State. Some are saying he's also approved the release of impounded vehicles, slashed the fares of Lagos State government transportation services. This one has been on for a couple of months now. So the recent actions of the governor with a few days to the election is giving people a cause to say he's running helter-skelter just to win votes. But these are things that probably should have done before now. What do you say to this, Tunde?
Well, in fairness to the governor, Mr. Sanwo-Olu, most people, the opinion they have about him is that he's a complete gentleman, and also a very charismatic person, and also a man who most times will want to use dialogue to solve problems and challenges that may be confronting the state with regards to good governance. You will recollect that during the NSAS protest, he was also at most of the theater of the protests and demonstrations to talk to the Nigerian youth, to fit their sword, and to assure them that he has listened to their grievances and that he will take steps to ameliorate whatever all those grievances were at that period in time. So this wouldn't be the first time that Sanwo-Olu will be doing troubleshooting. But with regards to going to Alaba, releasing impounded vehicles, paying retirees accumulated pensions, in my humble opinion, it's not the right thing to do at this period in time. It could be seen as a form of campaign. All campaigns, under the law, there's a stipulated time within which campaign must stop, whether it's the presidential, whether it's the governorship, whether it's the senatorial election. So I hope his opponent, those who are contesting the governorship with him, will not want to use this against him. If he wins the election, then some of these contestants go to the election particular tribunal to file petitions challenging the legitimacy of his victory on the basis that he continues the campaign not after that the campaign has stopped. Furthermore, these actions of Mr. Governor will be seen as an afterthought. An afterthought in the sense that a few days before the election, you now go around some of the critical, vote-catching segments of the society, begin to appeal to them. Why did you not appeal them long before the elections are coming? Especially when the elections are going to be a very keen competition between the governor and some of his other political opponents, especially the Labour Party. Too many times, we see people who are running for elections begin to appease our people in the last minute And we said governance is not a philanthropy. It is not also a benevolence that those who find themselves in leadership begin to bestow on the citizens or on the people that they lead. It is a service which must be rendered promptly at the appropriate time, as at when due, and not to be used as a vote-catching devices or gimmick.
All right.
I think the governor is ill-advised on some of these things.
All right.
He could even have sent some of his party leaders to go and do some of the troubleshooting that he is doing directly now, to do those things for him, without risking being accused of campaigning, much after INEC had stopped all processes of campaigns.
All right. All right. Today, interesting thoughts you've shared there. You're saying this is all part of campaign. He might say, well, it's part of his job as governor to pay pensions and all that. But I mean, it's interesting. You've said it all that in recent times, been in the past few days, or let's say a couple of weeks, government has done some very good things. Indeed in Lagos State, and some would have said, saying maybe it should have been done a long time. Some people are even claiming that some roads in Aja are being fixed. Anyway, Tunde, thank you so much for your time. We'll definitely have you here next week after the results of the governorship election may have been announced, and we appreciate you always for joining us with your expert analysis.
Thanks for having me.
All right, you're welcome. We'll take a break now. On the breakfast, when we return, we'll have a conversation, of course, on the entire BVAS controversy. Of course, INEC is saying they need to reconfigure their devices. Labour Party has approached the courts asking for approval to inspect materials. So given that, we look at all of this situation at the Court of Appeal in Abuja, fixing today to consider the merit of INEC's application. Please stay with us.